people are in the Zoom room, thank you for joining us. And thank you for being patient with me. All right, I'm gonna start it over again now. All right, let me go to this bio because I had it up a moment ago. All right, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. If you are in the Zoom room, I appreciate you for joining. If you're a Corona Daze Professional Development Group member, you know how this goes. I am Danette Edwards, the founder of Corona Daze Professional Development Group. This afternoon, I'm honored to be here with Faith Mckinney, and she's going to talk to us about the art of self-promotion. She's going to tell us how we can improve our presence on LinkedIn, save thousands of dollars each month with effective do-it-yourself PR. I know y'all hear all of that going on out here in Baltimore. I live in downtown Baltimore. We are going to talk about dealing with imposter syndrome. And then she's going to talk about pivoting while you work. So Faith Mckinney is the author of Schmingling, The Art of Being Well-Connected Through Blatant Self-Promotion. She is executive producer of Real People, Real Voices television show in Indianapolis, Indiana. She has been quoted in national publications like the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, CNN, and Ebony Magazine, all while working as a janitor. And as we were talking before we got together, Faith told me just last week she was quoted in Bloomberg and Newsweek.
Oh, Bloomberg Newsweek, yep.
Newsweek last week. So guys, get your pen and your paper out and take notes. I am going to turn this over to Faith Mckinney. I am very excited and honored to have her here. Thank you for joining us, Faith. Oh guys, we're going to do a dedicated Q&A at the end. So send me your questions on Facebook. I will get them to Faith. If you are on Zoom, just drop them in the chat and we will cover them at the end. All right, I'm turning it over.
Okay, Danette, thank you so much. You know what? I need for you to remind me, what is the first one? Because I have imposter syndrome. That is something huge.
Oh, sure. Let me go back here. So improving your presence on LinkedIn, saving thousands each month with effective do-it-yourself PR.
Yep.
Dealing with this imposter syndrome and pivoting while you work.
Okay, yep, we can handle all of that. I'm so excited. I'm gonna kind of talk fast. My TV, my daughter's watching television in the background, and the volume just came up just now. It was quiet before, but it's now loud. So I apologize. Thank you so much, Danette, and thank you so much, Corona Daze group. I'm so excited to be here. I love to share this information because it has helped me to get my name out, to position myself as an expert and an authority, and give me credibility where I ordinarily wouldn't have had any. You see, I started as I worked as a post office I've been there 32 years almost. And for almost the first 22 years, I worked as a janitor. But I did that because I needed to be able to stay home with my daughter during the evenings and the weekends because she has special needs. And she may pop up here, you may see her. But I knew that being a janitor was just what I did. It wasn't who I am. And that was so important for me to remember. So as I worked as a janitor, because I didn't really have to do a lot of thinking and detail work, where I could work and kind of think at the same time, I was able to figure out ways to, how can I get more credibility? How can I let people know my true skills? And how can I help other people along the way, which is really the key to self-promotion. I wrote a book called Schmingling. It's Schmoozing and Mingling, the art of being well connected through blatant self-promotion. And schmingling really is, and self-promotion really is helping other people. When you put other people first, then it comes back to you. And Danette Edwards is a prime example of self-promotion in the best way possible. She's helping other people, which also helps herself. And this is sort of the thread that I want you to kind of remember all of this through, because self-promotion has kind of gotten a bad rap these past few years, but it's really a good thing. So first, we're going to talk about ways to establish some credibility that are really low cost. And everything that I did is pretty much free and low cost. Um, when I was working as a janitor, I really still had bills to pay, and I understand that a lot of people have lost their income, but the things that I'm going to share with you today are free or low cost. So the first is LinkedIn. Because of me working as a janitor and the things I did outside of being a janitor, I'm going to talk about that first. One of the things that I did was I became a celebrity interviewer and a journalist. Now, little backstory, I didn't graduate from college. I didn't have great connections. I didn't have a lot of things that I thought would qualify me to be a celebrity interviewer and a journalist. But the fact is, done is better than perfect. I did it and it wasn't perfect, but I did it. And so some of the things that I was able to do was I connected with an online magazine that needed some on-air talent. They were just, doing it's like a small blog that had video, and so I connected with them. I was their on-air talent. I interviewed people, entertainers around Indianapolis. We're Indianapolis, not Hollywood, not New York. um, and so what I did was I said, hey, can we interview celebrities? Well, in Indianapolis, it's not really known as a hub for celebrities, but different organizations did bring in celebrities. So what I had to do was build relationships with those organizers, and relationships is the key to self promotion. Just like Danette building relationships, I built relationships with the organizers and I said, hey, can I interview your celebrities that you bring in? I was able to interview Kirk Franklin, Dan Rather, Soledad O'Brien, Susan Taylor, Michael Eric Dyson, Tavis Smiley, a whole lot of people by doing this. And I got it on video. So that way I was able to use these, it's called an implied endorsement. When people go to the White House and they get the picture with the president, it's sort of like the president is endorsing them, or a little bit, it's implied. Well, so that's what it was for me, getting those pictures, getting that video, an implied endorsement. I put them on social media, put them on Facebook, put them on LinkedIn. I created an active LinkedIn site. Another thing for LinkedIn, create a banner, and definitely put a good headshot up there. Now, if you don't have a banner for your LinkedIn, and a lot of times you'll try to upload a picture and it won't fit, go into Canva, which is Canva. It's a great site. They have something specifically, a site specifically for LinkedIn banners, and you can create something of your own, put it into LinkedIn, something that reflects you or your business, your industry, or whatever you do, or whatever you believe, something that will attract the people that you're trying to attract. Put that in Canva and put it in LinkedIn. Post some activities. Just recently, a few weeks ago, I had answered or responded to somebody's post, and a lady from Singapore read my response and connected with me. I didn't know she was from Singapore then, but she is one of the leaders of a Asian hub, of a pharmaceutical hub in Singapore. And she said, hey, I'd love for you to come and speak to my group here in Singapore. So being active on LinkedIn, you never know what can happen. I made so many connections, and LinkedIn is amazing. I know that now, because of coronavirus, people are saying, well, we can't really network, we can't really meet people. You'd be surprised when you see organizations having a seminar or a webinar. Jump on, even if it's not in your industry, jump on, be a regular, show your face, participate. People will see you and they'll know you, and then you'll be able to possibly make some connections that way, especially if they're maybe in an adjacent industry, something um, that you are adjacent to. So uh, maybe they could be a client of yours, or maybe you could barter. It just depends. There's so many things that you can do. LinkedIn, get recommendations from your friends. So you have people that you've done business with, people that you've worked with. Ask them for a recommendation to put on your LinkedIn profile. This adds to your credibility. People read those, they see that, oh, somebody worked with this person. Oh, they're hardworking, or they're pleasant to work with, or they're knowledgeable. People read that, and that's sort of that's an endorsement. It's an endorsement from your peers, and I read them, and I know a lot of other people read those too. And just make sure you fill out everything and try to keep it up to date. You don't have to do it every month, maybe every 2 3 months. Just keep it up to date. Share people's post that you like. Share it. Mark that you like it. Respond. LinkedIn is a great tool, and it's free. All right. I don't know if you have any more questions about that, but if you have any questions about LinkedIn, save it for the end, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So next, we're going to talk about free ways to get into the media. Now, I didn't tell you that I was mentioned in, well, the net did in my intro: Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, Ebony Magazine, AARP, tons and tons of publications, books. I was able to get in, even as a janitor, uh, even without a college degree, even without, I'm a short, fat, bald black lady. I If I could do it, you can do it too. And this is my message for you. Promote
You left out
yourself. Promote your
beautiful.
Huh?
You left out beautiful. Yeah, you could be
What'd you
short.
say, Jeanette?
You left
Oh,
beautiful out. You could be short. You could be bald. You could think you're a little round,
beautiful.
but you are beautiful.
That's
Okay.
what, thank you. And you are out there, everybody out there is beautiful too. You are beautiful. Take what you have, take those good parts that you don't even think about. That is valuable to other people. One of the things that even doing getting into magazines right now, I make it a game. It's a game for me, but other people would pay thousands of dollars to learn how to do that. And I'm going to give you my secret right now. So online, there's a site called Help a Reporter Out. You may have heard of it, you may not have, but it's helpareporter.com. So helpareporter.com is the free site where journalists, television producers, bloggers, podcasters, they all go there to find expert sources for their articles that need to be done quickly. So I had joined this back in possibly 2010, and it took me a couple years to get quoted because I didn't understand how it worked. And this is how it works. So a journalist will ask a question. Say, for instance, let's see, uh, have you lost your job during due to COVID, or what kind of productivity? What are good productivity hacks that you learned that you're doing during COVID? That's what I got into Bloomberg Newsweek for. So I answered them and I said, well, I've been able to network online using Skype, using all types of different virtual meeting places. Skype help or not Skype, Zoom was really great for getting me in front of people all over the country. So I've been able to make sales. Now I work in sales with the Postal Service, which is wonderful. So being able to meet with my customers online, able to just do so much more business online than I would if I had to travel. And now that we're doing, during COVID, even on television, if you were going to be making a television appearance, you don't have to leave your home now. Prior to COVID, you would have to fly yourself to New York or California to be interviewed on their stage. Now, it's just as simple as turning on your computer, turning on your laptop. You don't even have to get a babysitter. This is the blessing for me of COVID. Within the next couple of months, I'll be on a national television show. That is what I'm going to do. So 2021 is going to be is national for me, national television. But Harrow, sometimes there was even a Dr. Oz request, and this was before COVID, so that meant that I would have had to get a flight right then. It had to be like the next day. These are things you have to answer really quickly. They give you a deadline, but the quicker you can answer, the better. But if you are before COVID, you would have to fly yourself to New York, put yourself up, and fly yourself back. And that was a real hassle. Now, due to COVID, we can do this all the time. We can get on national TV all the time. And Harrow is a good way to do more publications and blog posts, but national TV, I'll show you how to do that as well. But with Harrow, you find a question that you can relate to. So let's say they have something about business and IT. Well, I'm not an IT person, and I don't know exactly what they're talking about, or that question might not pertain to me, so I'm not going to answer that. But if they're asking a question that might not be within my job, it might be something that, how do you handle a child with special needs during COVID? Well, that pertains to me. That's something I can answer. And so I'll answer it. And I answered a question like that for the Washington Post. So it doesn't matter if it's within your job scope, it, if it just affects you, if it pertains to you in your whole life, anything in your life, answer it. Answer it quickly, answer it briefly, 2 or 3 paragraphs at the most, and the reporter will either email you back, or if you have your information, call you back, and they'll may ask you some questions. They may not. You might not know that your quote was in a magazine. The Ebony magazine, I had no idea. One of my friends called me and said, "Hey, great mention in Ebony." Well, I didn't know. But then I said, "Well, how do I know if my name's being mentioned?" Then you do a Google alert. And this is free. It's Google. Google Alerts, you can put in a word, you can put in your name, and anytime it's mentioned in any publication anywhere, it will alert you and let you know that your name was mentioned. And so that's what I've started doing. Google Alerts for the Harrow queries, because you might not know, the reporters might not tell you. Let's see. And other Harrow news, anyway, Harrow is really, really fun. All right. So when you get this um, media coverage, when you get mentioned, you might be hesitant to share it. Share your media attention. Share it with your customers, share it with your family, share it online, share it on LinkedIn, share it on Facebook, share it with everyone. This media attention that you're getting, the good stuff. Now, don't go on there saying, "Oh, I cheated on my wife and now I want to tell about it." No, don't say that. Talk about the good stuff, right? You don't have to answer every single question, but talk about the good stuff. And so you want to share that, and you want to share it because it's like a third party endorsement of you. So if you're mentioned in a publication, and it doesn't have to be a big thing, it doesn't have to be Forbes or Inc. It could be a niche um, blog post, a niche publication, a niche magazine. It could be something very niche. Even, um, even doing this on Corona days, this is a third party endorsement, because the person who's organizing it, in this case, Danette, she is lending her credibility to me. And so she's sharing this with her group, her organization, and I'm going to take this video when we're done, and I'm going to share it all over my social media. So when you are quoted, post it and share it with everybody. All right. So next, we're going to talk about the imposter syndrome, and that's what that is when you don't want to um, promote yourself. You feel like, "Oh, I'm boasting. Oh, I'm bragging." No, it's not boasting. It's not bragging. It's letting people know that, hey, you've got some good news and this is what's going on in my life. People want to hear that. People want to hear that. People want to know. Um, I it's something that I haven't really gotten over. It's something that I work through. When I feel like, maybe I don't want people to know, or maybe it feels too boastful, that's when I know I should do it. I should go ahead and do it because, it's something, it's good for me. Um, I have this self-talk, like I'm sure a lot of people have this self-talk that says, oh, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not smart enough. Yeah, you are. And as a matter of fact, most people, I read that 7 out of 10 people suffer from imposter syndrome, men included. So it's a really big problem. And it affects women mostly because women are really told, you should be nice, you shouldn't be, pushy, or shouldn't brag, you shouldn't do these things. But we should. If we don't promote ourselves, nobody else will. I learned that lesson when I was 30. I said, man, nobody's really coming out here to help me and promote me. I said, man, I got to do this on my own. And I learned that, okay, how do I do it so that it's effective and that it could be backed up? I also led a networking organization called Successful Thinkers of Indianapolis, and this was from 2010 to 2014. I'd never worked with a group of people before, and it was a really great experience. But one thing I learned was to have a hype man. Now you've heard of people, talking and hyping up other people, and you kind of think, wow, that's pretty good. They're saying that this person is really smart, or is, really fast, running, or they're just hyping them up. And when they're hyping you up, or when they hyped me up, I felt like, oh wow, are they really talking about me? Or, well, it really wasn't like that exactly. It did happen, but I had a little help. Or quit making excuses. I was a queen of excuses. Look, if somebody's hyping you up, it's for a reason, because you're good at it. No matter how small you may think it is, or insignificant you may think it is, it means something to somebody. Trust me. Today I was looking for somebody who could help me with my Calendly setup. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need somebody to help me with my Calendly. And I'm thinking, wow, this is something that's probably just innate for somebody else, but to me it's like a huge deal, because it can help me with my business, it can help me schedule and keep my life in order. It's a big deal to me, but it might not be a big deal to somebody else. So understand that what's small to you is means a lot to other people. All right, so pivot while at work. Then now keep me on time. I think we have 30 whole minutes left almost, but this next topic is pivoting while you're at work. So while I was a janitor for 22 years, at the same time, when I left work, once or twice a week, I may have an event to attend. I would leave work, change in the janitor's closet, and go to an event. As a matter of fact, um, I had to clean toilets, sweep floors, mow the grass just like everybody else. But one particular day, I cleaned the floors, cleaned the toilets, and then went and interviewed Dan Rather, and then went back to work the next day. And it's like, wow, I didn't have time to really celebrate. So celebrate your wins. Celebrate those wins. But and hold on to those wins, because when I pivoted to another position, I pivoted to sales. I went from being a janitor to sales in the same company. It was like I lost all my mind. I had no idea what I was doing. They had to show me how to turn on the computer, and everything I thought was just out the window. I thought that um, all my skills and everything would transfer. Mm-mm. I had to start from zero, and my confidence went down the tubes. So I had to learn to hold on to those wins that I did have, even though my coworkers didn't really understand that they were my wins. They may not have even known, but I had to know that for me. And this is a lesson that I want for you to understand. Your wins, write them down, put a picture up there of you doing it, something that you can hold on to, because when you're pivoting to another industry, another job, it's like starting all over, and it can wreak havoc on your self confidence. And you need that self confidence to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Sometimes you don't feel all that great, but you keep moving anyway. You know who you are. You just keep moving in that. All right, Danette, I think, oh, pivoting at work. Oh, building relationships. Building relationships at work. You want to see if you can um, find somebody who can be either, if not a mentor directly, somebody that you can look at and say, you know what, that person has the values, the work ethic, the intelligence, the presence, all of those things I want. And even if you don't talk to them directly, just kind of study them. What are they doing? And you may be able to ask them one day, what are you doing to advance? How are you doing this? And they may be willing to say, a lot of people are willing to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, or let's have a Zoom call, or let's have coffee, or whatever. But find somebody that can help you, that can guide you, somebody that you can look forward to, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Somebody else is already doing it. When you're pivoting, just understand, done is better than perfect. You don't have to be perfect right out of the gate unless you're a neurosurgeon, then you really do. But otherwise, it's okay it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. And when you make your mistakes, you learn, and you go and do something else. Let's see. Um, all right, Danette, you have any other questions? I think I'm done pivoting at work. What you got?
All right.
Anything?
Thank you, Faith. I really appreciate you doing this for us today. I think that so many people are going to get value from your story. I have my questions, but let me, if you're in the Zoom, I see so now I will send you a link to our LinkedIn group. Um, please connect with me and I will add you to our group as well. So if you connect with me on LinkedIn, then let me go to, if you're in the Zoom, if you have any questions, please drop them. Let me go to Facebook and see if I have any questions there. Let me pull that up. But okay, let me ask you this as I look for those questions. Faith, can you tell us a little about what happened after you started putting yourself out there and your the people in the post office found out? How did you get out of your old position as a janitor and into your new position? And can you tell us a little about that?
So it was really kind of funny. I mean, talk about feeling imposter syndrome. Now, while I'm working as a janitor, I'm building up my um, presence outside, and I'd be, sweeping the parking lot and emptying trash in the lobby, and somebody would come in and recognize me. And I'm like, okay, I mean, really, it was like, oh God. You see me on social media, or even, oh, I forgot to tell about being a television producer. I was asked to produce a television show. But you see me on there, and I'm sweeping the floors, or I'm mopping, or something like that, and I had to kind of put my big girl panties on, and you know be gracious, because I know that wasn't who I am. It's what I did to support my family. And while I pivoted, while I was preparing myself to pivot, that's what I had to do. I didn't feel comfortable leaving one job to go to another. I needed to be able to transition in my own time. And so that's what happened. And the clash, when people, it was, I felt embarrassed. Um I felt like maybe they would think I was a fraud. But, if they did, it never, I mean, I'm still here, I'm still alive, it didn't kill me, but I know who I am, and so that's what got me through. And because of what I did on social media, someone saw me who was in sales and said, "Hey, would you consider working in sales?" And so that's how I was able to move from being a janitor to being in corporate sales, which was a blessing. And the way I got to be a television producer, I forgot to tell you that. Um, I had led a networking organization that I mentioned, and a couple of pastors in town were getting ready to start a community TV show on a local channel. And he didn't know, he knew people, but he wanted me to, find people that needed to get attention, that should and deserved attention on television to be interviewed. And so he asked me to be the producer of the show called Real People, Real Voices. And I did that for 4.5 years. And I just ended last week. I thought, now it's time to move on. It's time to do other things. I see Melody McGuire is on here. Yeah, a lot of people that I know have been on there, and it was something, a way for me to give back. Just that was my platform, just like Corona Days is Danette's platform, and so it was a way for me to help people to get the word out, because so many people are deserving, so many people need to get the message out, but many times we're overlooked, or we don't feel like we can get that media attention, but you can. Um, I mentioned that I'm going to be on national TV in the next couple of months. And that's just building those relationships with show producers and understanding their audience and understanding what it is that the producers want. And so for me to be able to provide those things, and that's what you can do too. This is earned media. Earned media means it's not advertisement, it's not paid. This is free. This is earned because you earned the title of being an accountant, and so they want to interview you because you qualify, you're an expert. They're going to, this is earned media. It's free. And that's what Harold's all about too, that earned media.
So Faith, another question is, so when you don't have any training for any professional training for communications, and how did you figure out how to interview people? Was it just innate? Were you always a people person? So
Nope, 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 nope. I was a shy introvert, and I'm still introverted, but I wanted to be out there. I didn't want to feel like this. I didn't want to feel shy. I'm like, I knew that I had things inside me that needed to get out, just like other people do. They know that I got this in me. I got to get it out. How can I get it out in a way that I feel comfortable? And so, sometimes I had to stick my neck out a little bit to get that confidence. Like I took up acting. I was in a play. I auditioned for a play. I got a lead role. Then I auditioned for something else just because I needed to feel my voice, because I was shy. I didn't speak a lot. I wasn't used to hearing my voice. People always said I sounded like I was whispering. To me, I'm talking loud. I was talking loud, but I needed to understand how people perceived me. So I took up acting so I can get some direction. How do you walk? Walk like this, or eject. Or we want to see it on your face. All of these things I learned, and then I took singing lessons. I had a friend who was a singing instructor, a coach. And so I worked with him for, gosh, about 2 years to hear my voice. I wasn't great, but I did it. Done is better than perfect.
I love it. I love it. All right, so we have a question on Zoom. So for Melody, do you have any suggestions for balancing work and pursuing earned media opportunities, especially using social media? Do you suggest creating a public fan page?
You can create a public fan page. Here's my thing for social media. I only use Facebook and LinkedIn, really. Those are the only two because I can't manage everything. So, if you have a public page, and I have several public pages, I don't even use them. I just really use my personal page, my profile page, because it's who I am. It's not separate. But if you have a business and it's totally separate from you, just make sure that you can manage it. Make sure that you can be present on it. Make sure that you're interacting with the people who are coming on. I could only do two at a time. So LinkedIn is something that I'm always on, and Facebook not as much, but I still am really active on there. And I will post on Twitter, and I will um, respond or reply or retweet. Retweeting journalists is a really big thing, because whenever they tweet something, a journalist that you want to be interviewed by, let's say that you want to be in a Forbes magazine and you're going to be in the women's part, so you might do this. There's a reporter named Pollyanna Reed. It's Poly Pollyanna Reed. It's her name. All right. It's spelled, she's from Canada. She's a Black girl. She's from Canada and she writes for Forbes. So let's say, and she's on Twitter all the time. You want to get her attention, you start, retweeting and liking her work. And then she'll say, because reporters are people too. Um, you can you can retweet their work, share it. They pay attention to that. And don't just do it like once, do it over time. This is a relationship that you're building. It's all about helping other people. That's that's the key. If you're a decent writer, you can also be a contributor to like CNN or Forbes or Inc. or any magazine. If you're a decent writer, you can apply to be a contributor. And I mean, heck, that would be gold. If somebody here got on and was a contributor to Forbes, imagine they would we'd be like, hey, can you interview me? Just building that relationship. But that I was, in fact, I did CNN. So you can go to CNN I Reports. Either I Reports or I Reporter. CNN, the little I Reports or Reporter. I forgot which one it is. You can apply to be a contributor. And can you imagine? I mean, when you're a contributor to any of these things, you're in demand. That raises up your credibility right there. And you can put that logo on your LinkedIn page and put the logo on your website if you have a website. Use those logos. Yeah, Pollyanna Reed.
I love it. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. I would also say I definitely agree that keeping your social media to something that you can really manage. I have Instagram for the group,
Yeah.
but I don't really use it as much as I should. And I have about 2,000 connections there, so I should be using it more, but it's not where I'm most comfortable. So I know I'm not taking full advantage of it, but LinkedIn and Facebook, those are my sweet spots, and I'm in both of those places every day.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it is where I have LinkedIn is where I met everyone. I've connected with please over 4,000 people in the last 8 months, and those
Wow.
people, yeah. And I mean, when I got on LinkedIn again, because I just started back on LinkedIn in 2019, but when I started this group in April, I had 490 connections. I have close to 5,000 now, very close, like 4,700, something like that.
Yeah.
And I stopped even sending connections, really. People are coming to me now. But the other thing about that is I'm very present on both platforms, and it is very deliberate that I really want to not just connect with people, but I want to build relationships with them. So, yeah, so I try to read all the profiles. Like when I first got on LinkedIn, it was like all day long. It was my job, growing,
That's right.
growing my network to support this group. So I would say, Melody, that you select like where you're most comfortable, connecting with people and really connecting with them, not just growing your
Yep.
following and increasing the numbers, but it's the quality of those relationships, like connecting with people, really, really adding value to their content. And when people add value to yours, definitely acknowledging them, really thanking them, and really giving them thoughtful response when they are supporting you. And that has helped me.
That's absolutely right. Oh,
Um,
can I tell them how I met you?
yeah, uh-huh.
Because we didn't know each other. We just met a couple months ago.
Mhm.
So I had been quoted in an article or a blog post by a man named Bill Murphy Jr., and he is an editor for Inc. magazine. And so he has his own separate blog post. One of Bill Murphy's Jr.'s one of his most ardent fans, Steve Nudelberg, read my article, and it was just talking about my story, just like I told you about me being a janitor. He said, "You need to speak. You need to let every people need to hear your story." He said, "I'm a coach. I speak all over the world for $10,000 a speech." He said, "I want to help you." And I said, "Thank you, Jesus," because I wanted somebody. I was praying for something like that. So, we had a Zoom call, and he said, "Look, I want to introduce you to all my people." So he introduced me to a lady named Annie Lieb. And Annie Lieb, she's amazing. And Annie, we got on a Zoom call, and she said, "You know, you need to meet Danette Edwards." And I said, "Okay." And so I met Danette, and I told her my story, and Danette, and she said, "Look, I want you to be in my group." And I'm like, wow, this is an amazing opportunity. I never would have met Danette had I not promoted um my media hit, had I not followed up on LinkedIn, and had I not uh, offered to do good, offered. It's all about helping other people. I can't stress that enough. Self promotion, the art of self promotion is about putting the other person first, no matter what, and then it will come back to you.
Yeah, this is so true. This is so true. Everything we do in Corona Daze professional development group is because some of my contacts and friends asked me for help shortly after the pandemic really hit worldwide in late March, mid to late March. And so this is why we have Corona Daze. I started the group because it got to be 53 people who contacted me for help. I am not a career development professional by trade, but I have always helped people with their career journeys. And so when we started Shelter in Place, people contacted me from all over the world. And I said, you know what? I'm home. I have time. Let me, how about I teach them some things? Instead of doing resumes and trying to work one-on-one with everybody, let me start this group so that I could help people. And the response was tremendous and amazing. And there's been so much good that has come out of me just saying that I want to help other people. I've met so many people like Faye, so many professionals who have done like amazing things, who have come into the group and poured into our members for free. And then people say, well, why do you do it? You don't make any money. I don't. I haven't made a dime. I'm actually in the red, but that's okay because one,
Yeah.
we were in a situation where we need to help one another. We cannot do this on our own. And I think COVID has shown us the need for more community, for stronger
That's
community.
right.
And so I said, okay, I can do this. I can create a space and a place where others can come if they want to add value to someone's professional journey. If they need a helping hand, they come. Well, the great things that have happened for me, one, our group has grown tremendously. We have Between LinkedIn and Facebook, we have over 1,100 members. We have people who only come in for presentations, and I'll say we have between 200 and 300 people that just drop in for that. So I'll say we probably have about 1,500 people.
Wow.
Okay. Then I was recognized as Business Insider as one of the most innovative career coaches of 2020. And I haven't been calling myself a career coach, you know, so that happened. And then just recently, last Friday, I was awarded an Elevation Award, which provides $10,000, a grant. And it's not money for me, it's money for me to develop a Corona Daze professional development group for Baltimore City, which I live in Baltimore. And it's just amazing. So while I haven't made any money and I spend about now $103 a month for this group, just the exposure, the access, the relationships have helped hundreds of people. We have members who have gotten jobs. We have members who have started businesses, who've grown their businesses, members who have come on like You Have Faith, and they have done a presentation with us. And then someone saw them and gave them, you know, put them on their podcast and they got X amount of business. So it is definitely a domino effect of good. So I am, while the money is not there, I'm not making money. I am, yeah, I mean, as long as I can do this, I will continue to do this. And so I will say to everyone, Faith is so correct that when you put yourself out there and think about what is it that I have that I can add to the good of others, these blessings are going to come for you. Oh, and I have, I've not made any money yet. I will make money in 2021 because one of them is tremendously large. It's in every country in the world, contacted me to speak and asked me my speaking rate, you know?
Wow.
So I say to you guys, put yourself out there. Another thing about Corona Daze is I believe that we all have something in our hands, in our heart, in our mind, you know, in your soul. You have something that you can recognize your professional greatness, right?
That's right.
Life around, and we want to help you identify that. So,
oh, I see Sonal Shevzawari's on there. Also, when we were talking about pivoting or working, if you don't want to quit your job, let's say, you could be what they call an intrapreneur. So that could be the person who is the best at what they do within the company, the go-to person. And then you can write outside of, you know, you could write these articles about, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, about how you're successful. And that just builds up your credibility even more, because not only do you have the backing of your company, let's say you work for a large company or a small, medium company, you have that backing, you're there, and you can still write about it in these publications and get mentions and get on TV talking about this, and you don't lose your income, you know, because it's you know, entrepreneurship is hard. And you know, I was a TV producer for 4.5 years, and I just, I feel like it's time to move on. It's time to do something else, because I know that you know, if I have somebody that I believe deserves to be on TV, I could still get them on TV without that responsibility. So I could move on and help people who say, hey, I want to get on TV, or hey, I want to be mentioned in the publication. I know somebody wrote a book. This is my book called Schmingling, but somebody wrote a book that was featured in Forbes, and they paid a PR person it's like $3,000 to $5,000 a month for, you know, over a period of time. And I'm like, I could have done that, paid them $50,000 to do that. And I'm like, I could have done that. So that's how I kind of realized, the light bulb went on. Oh, you've got something valuable there. Let's promote it. Let's show other people how to do it, and you know, get them either on TV or get them in magazines and publications, podcasts. I love podcasts. Those are wonderful. Thank you so much. Any more questions than that?
I don't see any, but I have my three. And yes, podcasts are amazing, guys. the woman who contacted me from that largest business in the organization, one of the largest in the world, in every country, said she heard me on a podcast, on the second podcast that I was on. And I was on that podcast in July. And so that, the podcast, definitely gets you out there. Okay, so I am going to, yes, Sanal, what is it that I have and that I can contribute to others? Yeah, and sometimes you don't realize, like, I wrote it down. Faye said, you understand that what's small for you is big for someone else. Yes, it may be something that comes so natural to you, but you are really, really helping someone move to another level by sharing it. It might be a piece of information. It may be how to set up the calendar, right?
Yes.
It could be something that is so simple for you, but could really, really make the difference in someone's life.
I told Sonal, that's one of my really good friends. She gave me these earrings for my birthday. And I said, I never would have thought to get this print. And as soon as I put them on, I got instant compliments. And I'm like, wow. I said, Sonal, you need to be a stylist because at least from the waist up.
All right, so I have, guys, I'm gonna go to my 3 questions. And oh yes, you're a stylist. You know what? Another stream of income. We like that too.
That's right.
So we at Corona Daze Professional Development Group, part of our mission is that we are here to help people from marginalized and BIPOC groups increase their representation in the workforce, whether that is through self-employment or better jobs, new jobs. And of course, we were founded out of the pandemic in this pandemic, this COVID-19 pandemic. One question I asked to all of our presenters is, have you ever been marginalized? And if so, can you share with us about that?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. So for me, it was even in elementary school and going into high school. In elementary school, I was like the top of the class, right? And going into high school, we were bused to another area, and we were the first class to be bused, and it was a really big deal. But when we went there, I felt like I didn't know what they were talking about when it came to my studies. Education, math was totally different. The things that we studied was totally different. I didn't have a relationship with my guidance counselor. I feel like if I had a good relationship, if I didn't fall in the cracks with that and understood what they would mean to me, I feel like I could be so much further along had I had that person to say, "Hey, Faith, you're really good at this. Have you considered this, this, and this? Hey, let me take you by the hand and show you what is possible for you." Instead, I didn't understand. I didn't meet my guidance counselor until it was time for me to graduate. And then I had no clue what was possible. I went to college for like a year and dropped out because I had no idea who I was and what I was supposed to do or what I could do. And now I see all these people doing all these amazing things, and I'm thinking, man, that could have been me. That could have been me.
Yeah, but you look at what you've done. I mean, and I think we all have that, and that's part of that imposter syndrome as well. Those woulda, coulda, shouldas, and if I did. But look at all that you have accomplished. Saying I worked 22 years as a janitor, right? And pulled it all over. You interviewed Dan Rather and Soledad O'Brien. Like, come on. So I think, and I have those too. Those woulda, coulda, shouldas. I never graduated from traditional high school. I have a GED. I also have almost 3 master's degrees. I have 2.5 master's degrees. But I still think, oh, I would speak better. I would be better if I finished the 12th grade traditionally. But
it's always something, isn't it?
And so as I'm saying this to you, people say this to me all the time. If you just like, as you said, write down those accomplishments, look at everything that you've accomplished. And this path was the path that you were supposed to be on. That's what it is this was the path you were supposed to be on. So
I agree.
Yeah. And I asked the marginalization question. If you are new to our presentations, I'm sorry, I'm in downtown Baltimore.
Hey, I understand. I love it. It's like activity and life. I love noise.
I asked the question so that if you are watching this presentation and you feel like you are currently being marginalized or you have been marginalized in the past, that you can take strength and encouragement from our speaker who says, yes, I was marginalized, but in spite of that, look at me now, right? I've been an executive producer of a television show. I'm going to be on national television in 2021. I have interviewed all these people. I've written a book, right? I am on the scene. I'm out there and I'm doing it. And so it's not for a woe is me moment, but it's so that you can take some strength and encouragement from the journey of our speaker, who's today Faith McKinney. So thank you for sharing that. This is my favorite question. If you could go back in time and go ahead and tap a younger Faith, the introvert, on the shoulder and say something to her that you wish you knew back then, now, what would you say?
I would say, so I was a young gymnast. I was 8 and gymnastics was my thing, but I was afraid to do the back handspring. I was afraid. I would tell my younger self, do it. Do that back handspring, because not doing that, gave me the mindset of limitation. I can't do it. I'm going to quit. I wanted to be a cheerleader. Had I known how to do a back handspring, oh my goodness, I could have been a cheerleader. I could have done this. I could have done that. It just would have opened up so many doors for me, but I was afraid. I was afraid. And that would be the lesson. So now if there's something that I'm afraid to do, 2021, my word of the year is leap. I'm going to leap and do it.
Yeah, I am learning to lean into my discomfort. And I'm learning it this year has really, really shown me that I need to lean into my discomfort and my fear. So I love that you shared that one. That hits home for me. And then my final question is, considering everything you discussed today in your own journey, if you had to leave us with, where can I apply to be a contributor? Bridget, if it's Harrow, I put the link. CNN, I'm going to look for the link. I'm going to look for the link and post it in the group, Bridget. Okay. So if you just think about everything that we've discussed today, if we had one takeaway, if we could only walk away with one thing, what would you want us to walk away with today?
Done is better than perfect.
Love it. I love it. I'm going to be quoting that, guys, in the group. I already wrote it down. You said it multiple times. Yes, I have it right here. Done is better than perfect. So that will be quoted. I love your story. I love your journey. I am so happy that I'm going to be here on the sidelines cheering you on, because national media, and then it'll be international media. And then maybe every time I turn on my TV, I will be seeing your beautiful face. Yes. You never know.
Thank you, Danette. Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity. I loved it. Thank you, Herman Lopez, everybody that said, hey, I'm going to be on. I'm going to invite people. Thank you.
Yeah, and guys, if you catch the replay, wherever you catch it, just let us know you caught the replay and just drop us a little word, tell Faith something about this presentation. I appreciate you all for joining. If you're not a member, join us. And Faith, you are welcome to come back at any time. I'm going to buy your book. So I'm going to actually order it today at Amazon. You let me know the best place to get it. Is it Amazon?
It's on Amazon.com. Yep, that's
Buy it?
where you can get it.
Okay, I'm gonna buy it
Yep.
today. And maybe we'll come after I read it. Maybe I'll do a reading and I'll do something. And you come back and we'll talk about the book specifically.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yep.
Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. So now we are going to connect. We're going to connect very soon if you have time before the end of this year. All right. And I just appreciate you all. Thank you so much, Faith. I will be posting this later.
Thank you.
And I will be sending all the recordings and the links to you as well, Faith. All right.
Thank you.
All right, then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was great. Right.
Good.